Hey everybody, how you doing? So far today I've had a coyote almost run into me, and a guy with a diesel truck decided to rev up his engine right next to me and cover me in diesel exhaust. Cool. But that's not what I want to talk about. Today I'm sore, I'm a little cranky, I'm a little tired because I laid a bunch of concrete last night because I don't trust contractors. And what the heck, I thought today I'd talk about why I don't trust contractors and share with you some of my experiences with contractors in my home. So I'm going to get back on the road, get out from under this bridge, and let's go talk about that. So, you know, you live in a community, and that community has a Facebook marketplace, and my wife and I live in a community like that. And so we'll type in there, hey, who's good at doing concrete, or who's good at doing plumbing, or who's good for whatever it is you need, right? And a bunch of answers will come back, and then you'll go ahead and sift through those answers and see if there's people that you know or don't know. See if the contractors that they're referring to you've heard of or haven't heard of. See if they're actual businesses or they're just, you know, people that know somebody that knows somebody. And, you know, I think in the city, a larger city, you have an advantage because you have more people to choose from, right? Now, my wife and I live in a smaller community, and we don't have a huge pool of people to choose from, so you kind of get what you get. But even in that, you know, you expect, or at least I expect, that a person that's coming to me from the community would have some community pride and some care for their reputation within that community and do a good job. I have to say, I've never failed to have been disappointed in my presumption of one's desire to protect their reputation within a community. In fact, I would say my best contracting experiences have come from people outside of the community. I ain't gonna sit here and name and shame people, because on the off chance that somebody knows somebody that knows somebody in one of these companies, that contracting firms that didn't do us what I would consider right, would tell them I don't want any kind of defamation problems or anything like that. I don't know if that would happen, but I don't want to go there. But what I will relate to you is a few experiences that I've had, and maybe things to look out for if it helps you, I don't know. So, my wife and I live in a home that was built in 1900. As such, you know, you expect it to need things. And so one of the first things that it needed was we have a section that looks like it should have been a garage at one point, but is actually just now a spare room. My sons have lived in that room. My stepdaughter has lived in that room. We've had, you know, it's kind of now a general purpose sleeping room and gaming room that I hang out in. It's where my computer is and all that. And so we wanted that re-roofed because it had one of those old torch down black rollout roofs, kind of a tar and fiber roof with the torch down tar seams. And that it wasn't leaking overall at the time, but there was one winter where water got up under it, or ice got up under the flashing, and then it leaked, and then it leaked inside. And we kind of wanted that dealt with. And what I wanted was the roof to be completely taken off down to the deck, because there's irregularities up there, and I wanted to see what that was all about. And so we talked with a local contractor, a big guy, has his signs everywhere in people's yards, has a big old office on the edge of our town, and figured that this guy would, you know, being as big as he is and as loud as he is with his business, he would do us right. That guy did us wrong, did us dirty. So, you know, we walked around the house and explained to him exactly what we were looking for, what we wanted. And at the end of the day, we got most of it, right? But it was such a fight. And I'll explain that to you very quickly. On the flat roof, well, let me say this. We wanted gutters, and we wanted fascia, soffit, and that flat roof fixed. And instead of replacing all the wood for the fascia and soffits, you know, he suggested that we could save a little bit of money and just do the vinyl coverings. Well, the wood wasn't all beat up, except for in one corner. And I don't know, that we're not hanging anything off there, so sure, why not just cover it up with the vinyl and or the steel coverings, and you know, we never have to worry about it again. We did get the gutters, but the soffits never got dealt with, unfortunately. And he said, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted that done." I was like, "We talked about it. We walked around the house together." He said, "I misunderstood you." Well, this time it's already, the project was done, and I was like, I don't know, I didn't know what to do about that, so I just let it go. The roof is the part that really bothers me, though. So, you know, I said I wanted that all tore down to the deck and everything, and he never did. I was at work one day, and of course my wife's inside, but she's not looking out the window seeing what everybody's doing all the time. And I come home, and he's got something completely different going on. I expected to see, you know, people tearing off that flat portion of the roof. What I saw was people painting, rolling on some kind of latex covering over the top of it, filling in cracks here and there and that kind of thing. I'm like, what is this? He says, well, that roof material is some of the best there is, and you really don't want to remove that because you could cause more problems than what you already got. He said, I think if we just fill this in, it'll solve your issue. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. I wanted to see the deck. Now, by the time I'd seen what he had, he literally had everything covered up. And so there again, I mean, I guess in my naivety and my not really willing to desire to start a battle with a local guy that's kind of big in the community, or at least so I thought at the time, because we were still new in this community, I was like, fine, okay, we'll see if it works. And he gave me, you know, his guarantees and all that, that if it didn't work, if it leaked, he'd be back and, you know, we'd continue on. So, okay, whatever. And for the summer, during the rainy season, it didn't leak. But it wasn't leaking during the rainy season in the summer anyway. It only leaked in the wintertime when the ice would get up underneath certain parts of the flashing. And that winter it leaked right by the door. And so I took pictures of it, messaged him, called him up, and you know, he came over and laid another 2 coats of that stuff on there. And again, the third year it leaked. And it wasn't until I complained to the Better Business Bureau, said there's breach of contract, this isn't what I wanted, this, and I basically wrote, if I wanted you, if I wanted you to be my financial advisor, I would have hired you for that and not my roofer. I had the money at that point to spend on doing the extra labor, and I didn't need him telling me how to save money. there was a point and purpose to what I wanted. He ended up putting an industrial strength covering on my roof, which is what was part of the deal anyway. After he tore everything off and redecked it, he just covered the whole thing up. He never did tear it all down. All right, fine. And it hasn't leaked since. Then there was a tree guy. We were having troubles with our trees in the backyard. There's too many of them, and they were hanging over power wires. And one year we'd actually already had a limb come down over a power wire and rip our external service right off the side of the house. So yeah, that was great. So then we went into the marketplace again and asked about tree removal. And some guy was recommended to us that actually did work for the city in removing trees on a contract. And we're like, well, hey, let's do that guy. Because another big guy that was in town, has a big showing in town, came over, talked to us. He shot a bid, we agreed it, and then he never showed up again. We actually tried to use him twice, and he did the same thing twice. So this guy that we used, he did chop down the trees, and we had an agreement. He would take the half of the tree wood, and I'd leave me half to burn in my wood burning stove. And he would also, to save cost, I told him, I said, just leave the little stuff and I'll go ahead and take that out to the city burn pile on my own. Well, we get through it. We pay him half up front, and he's about 3/4 of the way done with the job, and somehow he manages to talk my stepdaughter into giving him the other half of the pay. And she does. And then he doesn't finish the job. He got through like 98% of it. There was one half of a tree left that he needed to deal with, and he never did. He was supposed to grind the stumps, and he never did. He was into us like $164. It still is, because we had to hire somebody else to finish the job that we hired him for. My wife would troll him every so often, try to get him to pay up, but he never would pay up. Just nothing but promises and excuses and pity party stories about how life has taken a turn for the worst for him. And you know what? I don't care. I do not care. You know, after the accident, I found myself with a, I wasn't wealthy, but a good chunk of change, where I felt like I could do stuff to my house with that settlement money. And that's what I was doing, except the roof was a different deal, but from the trees on, it was all settlement money. And I was really hoping to get the best bang for my buck, because I don't plan on getting on another accident. Don't plan on having to go to court and get another settlement and redo a lot of stuff. I kind of looked at this as a one-shot money dump, and I was going to try to make the most of it and use it the best way that I thought was use the best way possible. And I felt like the best way possible was to put it into my house. And I thought that hiring qualified contractors would be good, because I'm working 10 hours a day. I don't have time for everything that needs to happen in the house. Not if I don't want to, spend the next 20 years on it. And I don't. I've got other things I'd rather spend my time with, honestly. Like this. But with that being said, there's a price to pay, right? There's always a price to pay. You never truly get your way. You always have to give up something somewhere. So as we move deeper into the contracting phase, the next big turd comes from a guy that is selling windows and doors. Now, he was recommended to me by my boss at work, And this guy is friends with his dad, and this guy and my boss respects his dad and respects his dad's choices. And so, you know, by way of this connection, I figured that this windows and doors guy would be a good candidate. And we met him, and I brought him to my house, and he did the bid, and my wife called him out, and I should have listened to my wife. Man, I was stupid. So stupid. She recognized him from a previous attempt where he was pounding doors and trying to get business. She didn't like him, she didn't like his windows, and she shooed him away. And she told me this after this guy left, and I said, well, you know, do you think we shouldn't do this? And she didn't say no because she didn't want to override me with what I was saying. Well, I thought this guy might be doable because of my boss's connection. But I should have listened closely when she said that the first time, when she goes, yeah, I shooed this guy away because I didn't feel right about him. Well, she was right, I was wrong. This guy, yeah, he sold us windows and he installed them, or had a guy install them. But you know, the guy did a fair enough job. I mean, I don't have leaks really in the house. There's one that I think my wife sees, but you know, the installer really did do the best he could with what he was working with. And I'm not going to knock him on the windows, but I will knock him on the sliding glass doors that connects our deck to our house on the back side, where I wanted that replaced. So I buy this door from the contractor. And the same guy that did the windows is trying to put in the door, and he's banging on this door and on the framework outside so hard, trying to get this door to fit instead of just cutting a bigger hole, that he ends up splintering the inside door frame trim on the inside of the house around where that door is. And my wife freaks out over that. I wake up from all the noise and her yelling at him, and it's just chaos. I say I wake up because I work a night shift then. And so, yeah. So I get up and I pull her back into the bedroom, and I'm looking at my splintered door frame, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, yeah, bro, just a little bit of caulk and some paint, and you'll never see it. I'm like, what? No, that's not acceptable. And I said, let's go outside and see what the problem is. And he's done chopped up all the installing tabs, you know, where you're supposed to push in the screws on the little tabs on the side. He's unchopped those off. The upper part of the door frame, there's nothing there. There's no wood up there, so he can't actually secure that top end. I'm like, why didn't you fill this with wood so you could actually screw that in? He goes, I'll still screw it in, you'll never know. So I'm like, I'll know. I see it. I can push the tabs in. There's nothing there. How's that? Even if you threw a 3-inch screw in there, what's it securing to? The tab is still not secure up against a block of wood. Well, he started trying to give me some lip, and I said, look, you need to go home. You're done here. I said, more than likely I'm going to have this door pulled out and have this frame filled in correctly so that the door can actually be installed right. He says, man, just don't judge a book by its cover. You'll like it when it's done. I'm like, you're taking shortcuts that I don't like. I'm not going to like it when it's done. So off he goes. And so I call the main contractor, and I say, you need to come out here and look at what's going on and explain to me a few things that I see wrong with the door itself, and then with the way your boy was installing this, and then we need to come up with a solution on how you're going to make this right. Now, he was giving me a hard time about that, and he said he just didn't have time because of the holidays. I said, fine, I'll reach out to you again after Christmas. I actually didn't. I waited till after New Year, giving him the benefit of the doubt, because he was oh so friendly when we were doing the windows, and he was able to get paid when he was asking that he needed to get paid. Something I should tell you guys, I always pay my contractors in certified bank checks. That way they don't ever have to worry about the money. They don't ever get a hard time. It's guaranteed. What do I get in return? Idiots. Freaking idiots. So this guy, now he's not so friendly anymore. He's not my best friend anymore like he was. And he says, he just gives me a ton of excuses. I said, fine, where's my windows? Because something I forgot to mention is a lot of those windows that were installed, the latches weren't right. He brings out a window rep. He agrees that the latches weren't right, so he has the spring for like half a dozen windows. He goes, well, I ain't going to get you your windows. You need to go pick them up if you want them so bad. I said, dude, that's a job that's already paid for. You are obligated. I'm not doing it. Take me to court if you want. Well, of course I'm not going to take him to court, because that's the amount of dollars, the amount of money we're talking about here for the amount of time that I'd have to spend. It wasn't worth it, and he knows it. He knows it. So I had those windows delivered to my home. Now I got them. And then, crap. And so, I didn't pay him the rest of the money for that sliding door job. He said that was my entire goal in life, was to not pay him $1,900 after I dumped $13,000 into his lap. Idiots, just stupid people. All he had to do was come out, work with me, and I would have paid him the rest of the money when the job was done. But no, he couldn't do that. He was all butthurt because I sent his boy home. Whatever. But those were some two really bad experiences. There are two really good experiences, and I think I probably want to leave with that, maybe. I'm not sure how much time I've spent on this video. It's probably been a while. Normally I've got a timer running. Today I didn't. I'm just talking. Whatever. But my electricians that we hired, these are the two that were not local, and they've been very good. All the rest of the people, well, the window guy, he wasn't local either. He was from Hutchinson, Kansas. The electrical people, and I'm going to call these people out. Service Plus Electrical from Hutchinson, Kansas. Primo people. If you're in the central Kansas area and you need electrical work, really give these guys a call, for real. They took my house, which God only knows what year standard its electrical was. It is now a 2022 electrical standard house. Put in a backup generator in case we lose power, and we did there for about 8 hours one day. Generator came in handy, loved it. They were great people, super friendly, very clean, explained everything. That's my endorsement for Service Plus Electrical. And the plumbers who plumbed in the natural gas line for that generator and put in my tankless water heater, which has been really great, and put in my water softener, and put in my manifold system, and replumbed my entire house with PEC plumbing, and replaced my the vertical gas line, sewage gas line, from cast iron to PVC. It wasn't cheap. None of those two companies were cheap, but holy smokes did they do a good job. So Jim's Plumbing and Heating from McPherson, Kansas. Again, my endorsement. They do a really good job. If you're in that area, look them up. And if you need that kind of work done. The last major thing I had done to the house was my bathroom, and I'm kind of mixed feelings on that. When I first saw the bathroom, I thought, man, this is great, this is beautiful. The guy did a really good job. But as I got to looking more closer as the weeks went on, yeah, it wasn't that great. It was okay, it's acceptable, it works. It was, but it wasn't great, especially for the amount of time that he took doing it. Now granted, this was a guy, he was by himself, And you know, and we were asking some pretty major things out of him. But still, you know, even I know that you should caulk the bottom of your shower door to your walk-in shower base, because if you don't, it leaks. That's where all the water goes. And that's what happened. I kept getting water on my new floor. Now, fortunately, we got waterproof bamboo flooring up there, but, you know, still, I don't want to see it. I don't want to test the waterproofing. So I went up there and I caulked it. And this is after we told him about it. We figured it's kind of his responsibility to make it right. Well, he went up there and caulked it real quick, and I do mean real quick. And yeah, that caulking didn't stick. It rolled out. So I went up there with some stuff that I got, and guess what? It didn't get done quick. I took the shower doors out, and all in all, it took me about an hour to make sure that the inside and the outside was caulked, was smooth, no gaps, adhered everywhere. You know why? Because I care. That's my bathroom. That bathroom project was about 30 grand with labor and parts all together, which was a deal because everybody else, this is why we went with this guy, everybody else was wanting to charge 40 grand labor only without getting all the parts. So, you know, did we save money? Yeah. Did we get a better deal? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I want to be able to recommend this guy, but the caulking was one thing. He did a good job, more or less, with the tiling, but when I was using the toilet up there, and it had a lower point of view to some of the tiling around the bathtub, I realized that there's gaps in the grouting. Big gaps. And I'm just like, what the heck? And then, you know, the wall, we had them build a walk-in shower for me, and one of the walls, and I haven't had guts to check the other walls, honestly, but one of the main walls is not plumb. Even I can build a plumb wall. I can. I've done it. Oh, man, so disappointing. Because this guy, you know, I thought he would really do a good job. I thought because he was alone and it took so freaking long that the quality would be top notch. No. It's probably about as good as what I could do if I, you know, really wanted to spend a long time up there. Because, I mean, I have built walls, but framing is not really a thing I know and understand very well. But yeah, so I'm kind of 50-50 on that guy. You know, concrete guys we had come in, charge us 10 grand, did a crap job, was awful. The fence guy, oh wait, the fence guy, Green Acres Fence. Again, if you're in the area, you need a fence, Green Acres Fence. They did a really good job on my backyard fence. Really appreciate the care and effort and time. Now, we kind of screwed up when we told them we wanted the fence level on the top, and boy is it level. It is so level. And when you look down the fence line, you don't see any posts doing this. It's straight as an arrow. His craftsmanship for putting together that fence was top notch, and so was the price. But it was good. I didn't mind that. The problem is our yard is at such weird contours that there's huge gaps underneath the fence, and my wife is kind of like, yeah, I kind of think I would have preferred him to follow the contours of the yard, even though the top of the fence would have looked like garbage. So we got to figure out how to fill that in. But that wasn't his problem. He didn't do anything wrong. That was just kind of our choice on how we wanted it done, and not really being a fan of it after it was done. So yeah, those are the three companies: Green Acres Fence, Jim's Plumbing and Heating, and Service Plus Electrical. Those three were great, absolutely great. Everybody else were turds. I guess the moral of the story here is, man, if you can do it, if you can learn to do it, whether it's working on your bike, working on your car, working on your house, the more you can do for yourself, the better off you're going to be. And honestly, I used to be like that far more than I am now. I guess I just got older and lazier and made more money and just decided to pitch it to people who didn't care. And that's my bad. You know, when it comes to being disappointed, I mean, even giving my bike to a dealership to work on has not always been awesome. These heated grips, you can see right here, maybe, you know, they cut the end of the grip off. That's even more prevalent on the throttle side. And you can see where they didn't, you know, get that all together right. So, I don't know. Maybe they had to do it like that, but that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, you know, now I'm getting to a place where I need a new sprocket and chain on the rear. I've about exhausted all my adjustments for my chain tension. I'm thinking I'm probably going to figure out how to change the sprocket and the chain myself. And who knows? I might redo the tires myself. I used to do the car tires. You know, I'd buy a couple of jacks, lift up the car, take off the rims, and go to the shed where I've got a manual tire mounter and demounter, and we'd put on the tires for like my son's truck. Mainly why I got it was to save him money at first. And we'd mount new tires on his rims, and I didn't have an air compressor, so we take a little thing of soap, we go to like the local Casey's store, and soap up the bead on the tires, and then fill them up at the air compressor at the Casey's gas station. It worked. And then we take it to a garage to get the tires balanced. Maybe I'll do that with my bike next time. Who knows? All I know is the more you can do, the better off you'll be. Because you know what? If it ain't perfect, and you're slightly disappointed, but you know what? That's your disappointment. You can own it, and you might not be happy about it, but you know what you can be? Happy that you didn't pay somebody to disappoint you. You didn't pay 20 grand to be disappointed. You did it yourself. And you know what? It probably won't be all that bad. It'll probably still work for your purposes. Anyway, that's my rant. And that's my lesson. And I hope that you guys, whoever you are, I'm kind of thinking about my grandsons and my granddaughters right now. Learn as much as you can, do as much as you can for yourself. You know, don't be afraid to ask for help if there's something you can't do, but the more you can do, the more you can be a blessing not only to yourself, but to the others around you who can't do. I think with that, that's where I'm going to end it. I've had fun ranting and raving. This video is probably stupidly long. And I'm just going to post it as is because you know what? Whatever. Whatever. Anyway, you all have a really good day. I'm going to head home. I've got a Crucible night in Elden Ring that needs to die. And with that, you all be good.